స్క్రిప్ట్ వింటున్నప్పుడు కానీ, మీరు డిస్కస్ చేసేటప్పుడు కానీ, చదువుతున్నప్పుడు కానీ యూ విల్ హ్యావ్ ఎ విజువల్. ఆన్ సెట్ లొకేషన్కి వెళ్ళినాక ల్యాక్ ఆఫ్ ఎక్విప్మెంట్ వల్ల ఆ విజువల్ని అందుకోకపోవడం కానీ, సో వర్ దేర్ ఎనీ బడ్జెట్ రిలేటెడ్ ఇష్యూస్ ఇన్ ద ప్రొడక్షన్ ఇన్ టర్మ్స్ ఆఫ్ ఎక్విప్మెంట్? అంటే కావాల్సిన లైట్ దొరకపోవడము, దాని బదులు హ్యావ్ టు డూ ఆర్ గో అరౌండ్ అండ్ అచీవ్ దట్, సంథింగ్ లైక్ దట్. అంటే ఇన్ టర్మ్స్ ఆఫ్ లైట్, కెమెరానే కాదు, ఆర్ట్ కావచ్చు, కాస్ట్యూమ్స్ కావచ్చు, ఎనీథింగ్, ఫీల్ ఫ్రీ టు ఆన్సర్.
So I'll take a little length. So coming to the production part, that is where the cinematographer is more occupied into. Exactly. Yes. Pre-production lo you'll discuss with the writer a lot. Post-production lo you discuss with the editor a lot. Production is the place where the director interacts more with the cinematographer. So when coming to production, there is no one film అప్ టు మై నాలెడ్జ్, నేను చేసినవనే కాదు, ఇప్పటిదాకా రిలీజ్ అయిన ఏ ఫిల్మ్స్ అయినా కాదు, దెర్ ఇస్ నో వన్ ఫిలిం విచ్ డజంట్ హ్యావ్ ఎ రెస్ట్రిక్షన్. ఎవ్రీ ఫిలిం హ్యాస్ ఎ రెస్ట్రిక్షన్. వన్ ఫిలిం హ్యాస్ ఎ రెస్ట్రిక్షన్స్ విత్ ది లొకేషన్, మేబీ అనదర్ హ్యావ్ బడ్జెట్స్ issues. So I have to go a little back to 2016 when we've shot this film called Kshanam. Kshanam was shot on a small camera called 1DC. 1DC. Yes, okay. 1DC. Sony A7 Mark 1 for the first. Okay. A7 is first edition, which gave 1080 footage, and 1DC. So the 1DC is the primary camera. So all we have is 1 CR budget. And what we have to produce is something which looks like 5 CR. We don't have that budgets. We have the idea. So Chanel and me, Chanel is the cinematographer for the film, and I'm operator. So there is no budget for a focus puller. So I was running the focus for the camera. So when I don't have a second camera, I was running focus for the Chanel's camera. And in the same time, we don't have budgets for the lights. So we started shooting in 15 or 14 end, I guess. 2014 end is when we started shooting. So at that time, we don't have budgets for the lights, and there was hardly anyone using LEDs at that time. LEDs and uppudu we came up with LEDs a lot, but 5 years back, 6 years back, no one are willing to use the LEDs. At that time, we found out a dealer and we bought few LED panels, bicolor LED panels. We started shooting with it. So when there is a restriction, script doesn't have a restriction. Only the equipment has a restriction, right? Yes. So what are you for? You have to start doing some jugaad. So yes, beg borrow steal, do some or the other jugaad. Because you are technically sound. As a cinematographer, as an editor, or as a filmmaker, that case, all the technical limitations for to achieve something. So at that time, without making the audience see that technical limitation on screen, you have to figure out a way, do some jugaad and shoot. Yeah.
So coming back to major, so major lo were there any?
There are restrictions. So Kshanam time lo we have 1 CR and we have to produce 5 CR. So here we have X and we have to produce X plus plus. So there is always a restriction. So there are few sequences like the climax, the fight and stuff. So coming to the camera first, actually, why red helium is it gives me a 8K resolution, and we had a thorough discussion with the CG team, because this film has enormous set of CG, and there are sets built partially and we had to extend it another 2 times. So at that point, actually, we interacted a lot with the CG team, and they said the higher the resolution, the easier for them to track those things. So I went up with helium, which gives me a 8K resolution. And worst case, if I bump up the high speed also, I can shoot with within the limitations of 6K. So, but there is one point where we are shooting in RFC in Asset, and we're done with the drama portion, and now Sunil Rodriguez, who is our I mean fight choreographer, stunt choreographer, he came down, and Sunil sir was like, Vamsi, I want 96 at least FPS. Okay, and yes, for the slow mo. At that point, we had lit up that floor with the set piece with for a maximum of 48, because that is what is required for the drama to be shot till then. సో డ్రామా అయిపోయింది, ఇప్పుడు ఫైట్ స్టార్ట్ అవుతుంది. ఐ ఆస్డ్ అప్ సునీల్ సార్, హీ వాజ్ లైక్ 120 ఇస్తే బెటర్, బట్ 96 ఇస్ ఏ మినిమం విచ్ ఐ వాంట్. దెన్ ఐ హ్యావ్ టు డూ సమ్ జుగాడ్, get the two stops of light into, bump up into. So I asked up the production if I can bump up the lights inside. But bumping up the lights inside has two things coming up parallelly. ఒకటి ఏంటంటే బడ్జెట్ కన్స్ట్రెయిన్, అండ్ ఎస్పెషలీ వీఆర్ షూటింగ్ ఫార్ ఇన్ RFC. So every day a lot of power has to be required. So it is technically doubling up our budget of the light and generator, including the light people. And on another side, what is happening is the ambience is getting killed. So the top, it was a 3-floor structure, the corridors. So Tajloni North Block and South Block has corridors anamata. So 3 floors we built, and the top we have to lit it up from the top and let the light seep in till the ground floor to shoot. So that is a tough job, and bumping up the lights, giving a double amount of lights only on the top floor. What happens is, we're going to if there is a shot which the camera has to pass on from the middle floor to the top floor, what happens is the lighting gets jumped. It is going top notch. So we had to cut down. So the ambience which I have over there is perfect. It is not burning up, it is not making it dark. So I was thinking about it, and I came up with an thought of why don't I use Red Gemini. Red Gemini has a native ISO of 3200, which is giving me that two stops of dynamic range. But there is a technical constraint again. It is only giving 5K resolution. So I gave up a call to CV sir, CV Garu, who is technical head for Annapurna. So I called up, and he has a thorough discussion with the team, saying that the entire film till now is shot with 6K or 8K. Is it fine if we are shooting with 5K? They gave up a heads up, let's go up. Then I had to go in. So that's how I shot the remaining 40-30%, all the action parts with Red Gemini. Yes.